Hey, before we start the show, on behalf of Steve and myself, I'd like to say thank you so much for listening. Thanks to everyone who has been a part of Season 1. Today is our last episode of Season 1. We will be taking 1 week off and then back again on February 12th with new episodes. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. Tell a friend. We really appreciate it. It all helps. And, of course, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you have an idea for a word, phrase, idiom, all of the above that you'd like us to cover, please shoot us an email. Go to speaksies.com. That's the word speak, CIES.com, and go to contact us. You'll see the email there. Let us know what you'd like to hear. That's a lot of fun. And with no further ado, here's the show.
I've had a barber for a few years that I'm loyal to. That if he asked me to take out somebody or do something maybe questionable, I'd probably do it.
I believe it.
And it makes me think of, I appreciate him because have you ever been in a situation where you've lost your barber? Like your barber has just gone away.
I'm still a little sore over it.
And sometimes it depends on where you go. So I'm a thrifty person, I guess is a nice way to say it. So there was a time where I had a good deal, had a really good barber at a lower end chain. But this is Steve tip for things I learned when I went in there. And I went on a day, it was a Tuesday, where it was very cheap. So I over tipped.
Yeah.
And for the next 9 months, it was the best haircut season of my life because I over tipped and I was treated like royalty.
The best haircut season of my life.
At that place. And again, whatever chain you're thinking of, go down a couple notches.
Would you call it fantastic or?
I had a fantastic haircut. That is
That
is a good way to put it. But the problem with having a fantastic haircut is when that relationship ends, it ends. So I went in one Tuesday.
You just can't get anybody there.
Yeah.
It's gotta be the
I had
designated
one person who we had a thing. We had a 9-month thing. But one day I went in there and she wasn't there anymore. And I asked, where is my usual lady?
Yeah.
And the person that was there instead looked at me like I went in and asked, may I take a dump on the floor? Are you okay with that? And I realized that, at a place where you get a fantastic haircut, when your barber leaves, we didn't have a lot in common other than our hair. Sometimes I'll do so. I've had situations
You're never
going to
see that person
I've done
again.
some Facebook stalking and figured out, I remember we talked about this.
Yeah.
At this one place, it was gone. It was they had just been. It was like being in Russia and you've crossed Stalin and suddenly you're not in pictures anymore. You don't exist.
You got ghosted.
I did, and I understand that word a little bit now.
You got haircut ghosted.
Haircut ghosted.
I've had it happen, and now in my situation, actually, I haven't had it happen because my person told me beforehand and gave me information. So that's the difference. I don't think I've been actually haircut ghosted. I've been told I'm moving to another store.
Right.
And then you had to decide. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. You talk about, it was the greatest haircut. It was 9 months of pure bliss and it was such a big deal. But if that now I'll ask you, if that person had all of a sudden moved to another store that was, let's say 25 minutes away, would you have gone?
That is a good question. Maybe. That's close. That is at the
That's
threshold.
Why I picked 25.
There is
20. I think you'd probably go. Probably do 20.
Yeah, but you
30's
point out
hell no.
Yeah, there's a minute limit to that I didn't realize there is a distance that haircut affair will end.
Well, and now that I'm thinking back, I do think I had the awkward moment because she had been, and what I loved about her because I've been going to my person. I've followed her from. Well, that sounds weird, but she was at one place
Right.
downtown and then moved to another place, and I came with her, which was. She's great. She's been doing my hair for 3 years. But before that, I had somebody at a also budget shop down the street. It wasn't fantastic, but
Was this a place where you could watch sports?
yes, it was.
And one of the requirements to be a barber is that you have to smoke incessantly, so your
Yes.
fingers reek.
Yes, and wear yoga pants. So, but she was great, and she actually knew how to. She would kind of trim my beard, and it wasn't like, I mean, because having a beard, it's like, I don't do it myself because I can't. I'm not good at it. Just
Well, your
period.
beard is glorious.
Thank you.
We have very different beards.
You have, but yours. I'm jealous of yours though because you have that like trim, more. It's more like it fits the chiseled face. Whereas for me, I'm using my beard to shape a chin is what I'm doing. So I need an artiste that can
Right.
actually go in, and it's sort of like sculpting the lower half of my face with my beard. So, but I don't want to. I've said this before. I don't want to have the Al from Home Improvement, which to
Right.
me is like, you just take a 4-blade and just go to town.
Yeah.
I need you to get in there and scissor cut. I need you to. And so she was a young lady. I remember she had a young child, and I would give her good tips as well because that's the thing about going to a
budget place.
budget place is like there's a little extra room to work with.
Right.
It's like going to a place that serves cheaper beer. All of a sudden you can give a better tip. But she had told me this is my last week here, and I'm like, oh no. And then she's like, well, you can come see me. I'm gonna be by this mall or whatever. And
How many minutes?
It's 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right? Because it's and my immediate thought was immediately, oh, hell no. I'm not driving down
Right.
there. So it really all of a sudden came into focus how much, it really does mean to me.
Yeah.
Because if this was somebody that I'd fallen in love with, it'd be like, oh, God, yeah, I'll go to the ends of the earth, but it's like, no, she's great, but I'm not going 30 minutes to get my hair cut. So,
Shout out to my current barber that I'd say I'd go up to 60 minutes.
oh my
That's how
goodness.
good. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
I say that now.
now your current barber, it's not still fantastic. It's
No.
Oh, okay. You're going.
I'm premium.
Okay. Well,
But I get
thought so. You
But I
look
get what I
premium.
pay for, so it's worthwhile. I have
Yeah.
no problem with it.
Yeah. So when your barber leaves, it really can put you in a bit of a pickle.
In a pickle.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's going to be our first idiom of the night. And I don't know why you have to add that part in a bit of a pickle. I think that's
Right.
But it's in a.
Well, you got to get in there somewhere. So maybe that's how you get in the pickle is it's got to be broken up. So in a pickle, in a bit of a pickle. This is one I hear a lot. I think I've used a lot. And,
Okay.
And you use it to say that you're in some sort of situation. You're in a difficult situation. Not maybe as bad as a rock in a hard place. So you're in some sort of difficulty.
Yeah.
But why would you say in a pickle? I have no idea. Pickles have always just grossed me out. I think as much of a pickle as I'll intake is I like the Chick-fil-A, just little slice of pickle there that gives you a little bit of the flavor, but not too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But pickles,
Well, did you know, and I didn't know this until researching this, that the whole thing of the dill pickle, the big old dill pickle or whatever, that's an American thing.
sounds about right.
And did you know that in other cultures, like in England, for example, when you say a pickle, you're really talking about, and you even say it that way, a pickle, you're talking about relish, pickle relish.
Right.
So they don't even call it relish. They call it a pickle. So I didn't know that. And that does have, so then that starts to change the way
Okay.
you think about being in a pickle.
Okay.
Because, for me, it was baseball. Thinking about, when I was a kid, that was half of your practice every day. The coach would just
Playing pickle.
play pickle. I remember playing pickle in the front yard of my friend's house with, his brother or whatever. That was just good old-fashioned fun. You just get out there and friggin' play pickle. So that's where my head would go with it.
Okay.
And it's funny you say rock in the hard place because, you got one guy with the glove.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know what a pickle is in baseball, because some people might not know,
Right.
it's you have 3 players. One is, let's just say at home plate, the other one's at third base, right? And then there's a runner in the middle, and he's trying to get to one of the bases while the two guys or girls are throwing the baseball back and forth. So to me, it was like being in a pickle between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
But it does seem a little more. It's a lighter way of saying it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you're in a pickle.
Right. So you wouldn't say that like rock in a hard place connotates you're in a desperate situation. In a pickle, you're in some sort of trouble or inconvenience, but more of the lighter fare.
Yes. So if we go back to figure out where this came from, the first time it's used in English language is Shakespeare. So in The Tempest, there's a scene where Alonso and Triculo have just crashed their boat, and Alonso says, "And Triculo is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor hath gilded him? How camest thou in this pickle?" So you notice the word liquor is in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the initial way this was used was you're super drunk.
Okay.
So you're in a pickle meant you were, and it kind of makes sense. You think about, I've heard people say, "Oh man, this guy drinks so much he's pickled his insides or whatever," which is kind of dark, but it's initially what that was saying here in The Tempest. And so that was the way that this was thought of for a while. It wasn't really used for like a couple hundred years until our boy, you ready?
Hit me.
Not Pierce Egan, but Samuel Pepys.
Pepys is back.
He's back. So some would say he never went anywhere.
His diary's still around?
It is. And so this was from his diary. So in 1660, Samuel Pepys, in his journal, talks about that he's. So again, you could tell this is something you would say in a journal or a diary. Wednesday, the 26th of September, 1660, he writes a note that says, "At home with workmen all the afternoon, our house being in a most sad pickle."
Sad pickle.
Yeah. So he's at home. He's got people working on his house, and he say, "Our house is in a pickle." So this is where we see a change from it meaning being drunk to, but it's still something bad.
Right. There's a negative connotation to it.
Yeah, exactly. So he's clearly not talking about his house being drunk. So we think he means it's just in a state of disarray. So if we talk about the etymology of the word pickle, it really so Shakespeare was the first one to use it like this in English, but the word pickle comes from a Dutch word, pekel, Pekel, and it's a brine or a sauce, a spicy sauce. Okay, and even Dutch linguists aren't sure exactly the origin of this word, but it was used. It's the same root word for piquant, and also the same root word for pick or pike. So it's something sharp and piquant. So again, just the idea of like a sauce. So being in a sauce, being in a spicy sauce, it kind of
being in a relish.
Exactly. So there was a Dutch phrase, "in de pekel zitten," which meant, and I know that doesn't sound like Dutch, but to sit in the pickle brine. So there was this Dutch phrase, to sit in a pickle brine, which just meant you're in a kind of an unpleasant place.
Yeah. Is this the first time the Dutch have shown up?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other one I'm thinking, did they may have come up in Knock on Wood because like everybody came up in Knock on Wood, but maybe not.
Yeah. Well, that would be a little odd for them with the wood shoes. So maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they didn't.
That's true. They're constantly, or maybe that's why they have wood shoes.
Yeah.
But you're right. I do think this might be the first time that they've come up. So.
Hello, Dutch.
So some etymologists, though, Dutch etymologists, think that this phrase being pickled. So remember we read the phrase "in die pickle zitten," which means to sit in the pickle brine. So it can be a bad thing, but it also, most etymologists think that also means being pickled was being drunk.
Okay.
So we're back to the way that Shakespeare used it. We can give Samuel Pepys pretty much full credit with the way that we use this today, because he was the first one to use it in a way not meaning drunk, but I think him saying in a pickle was clearly something he had heard from, probably from Shakespeare, but he used it in a different way. So many things that we do say, Samuel Pepys had a big hand in. Again, like one day Guy Fieri will have had. So you're in a jumbled disarray like Pepys's house. So I think between, Pepys's phrase and also just the whole thing about sauce and being in a sauce, being jumbled, disoriented is really where it comes from. I mean, there are some antecedents of like people saying in a pickle back in Old English, and it sounds like what they're talking about is just being jumbled. So you could say drunk, you're jumbled, or just being in a sauce. You know? So it definitely changes visually the way I think about this. Instead of saying in a pickle, actually picturing what we call a pickle.
Yeah, it does. Well, that helps. That helps me kind of make more sense of how that fits in.
There you go. So, education. All right, so the next one is one that I have never known. I've heard it, not been 100% sure what it means, and that is salad days.
Salad days.
Have you heard this one?
I have, and this is actually one I oddly use, or I've used before. So salad days means use that to describe times in the past where things are going really well for you. It almost has like a springy vibe to it. It's the salad days. Things are going, life is easy, things are going well. And it's extra odd that I use that because when I think of food that I want to eat, as low on the list that I could possibly put is a salad. Like if I'm stuck in a situation where I have to eat
salads,
there's no point to it.
Yeah, there is. Roughage, man. It helps everything.
I'm not a rabbit. So salad, the thought of being in a situation where you have to eat salad all the time, because I've gone through that phase
all the time. You just mix
but
in
it's
salad.
the salad days.
Why are you so mad about? Okay. So salad days makes it sound like it's the age of salad.
Yeah, you're looking back, and this is going well, and this is going well, and then you find out you have to eat a lot of salad.
Okay.
So the times in my life where I have had salad, I'm also the person that will soak it, and any benefit I'm getting from the salad will be offset by whatever 3,000 calories of Caesar dressing or ranch.
That's my favorite. And by the way, speaking of salads, salad bars have got to be the biggest ripoff of all time when you think about it, because you go up there like you said, and you think you're being. First of all, you're not being healthy.
Right.
You're not, unless you're getting some greens with a little olive oil
which you're not doing.
You're getting. And by the way, I have actually thought about this more than I should have on like what the margins are on this stuff. Cottage cheese has got to be the biggest margin for, because it's heavy.
Yeah.
It can't be expensive. Why do they always have so much cottage cheese? What is cottage cheese? I don't even know. So, yeah, it's bad for you. You go up, you put ranch dressing on it, but like the ham and the turkey is oddly the same.
Oh, that ham cube at a salad bar like turns my stomach. Just even thinking about it, it's just disgusting. But they get you in there. You feel like I'm doing something good. I've had some salad. Now I'm going to put 4,000 calories of ranch on top of it and clog my arteries at the same time.
Yeah, a bunch of grated cheese. That's probably not really cheese.
Oh, and ham. That's not even ham. How do you have to fake ham? That's bad. Whenever you're getting synthetic pig.
It's the same thing. I honestly think it's the same thing with the different colorization. There's no difference between the turkey and the ham. Then those little broccolis aren't even good.
Yeah. Anyway. So salad days.
Wait, are we really going to talk about salad bars without talking about kale?
I didn't want to bring it up.
Okay.
And I put this all on you.
All right. We'll move on. We'll
talk about garnish at another time.
All right, so you said salad days means the good old, kind of like the good old days.
The good old days, yeah.
Yeah. That's not initially how this was used. So definitely the old days.
Okay.
But if you think about salads, you think about green, and we think about green, the way that that's sometimes used is like naive.
Okay.
So this one came from also Shakespeare.
All right, good job, Will.
We have our theme. This is a theme on two levels because it's I mean, pickles don't go in salad, but it's food and
green.
Shakespeare. Thank you. The first time this is used is in Julius Caesar, which, did you read Julius Caesar in high school?
Yes, I did. And I was going to say yes, no matter whatever Shakespeare play you threw at me.
Yeah, I actually really liked Julius Caesar. I mean, that was one of the first ones, the first things like I had to read in school.
Right.
That I loved. And there's a scene where Cleopatra is like extolling the virtues of Mark Antony and his conquests and all this. And she's telling all her, what do you call them? The other maidens that help her out, right? The service. That they need to also be singing the praises of Mark Antony. And they instead start talking about Julius Caesar and how great he is. And that doesn't go over well with her. So her servants say, this is how you talk about Julius Caesar. You've always talked about Julius Caesar like this. So, and she says, those were my salad days. I think exactly what she says is, Cleopatra says, my salad days when I was green in judgment, cold in blood, to say I said then. So she was, I think Cleopatra was 21 when she met Caesar, and he was like in his 50s. And so she was sort of smitten by him and all this. So then later, when she's going, no, Mark Antony's the real guy here.
So she was naive, which actually makes sense for young ladies too, because there's also that stage that women go through. They think they're just going to have a salad. And then Caesar dressing's involved, which puts 5,000 calories on top of the withered greens they've gotten at a Ruby Tuesdays.
Exactly. That Ruby Tuesdays down the street closed down.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's a Ruby Tuesdays.
How dare you? Yeah. I don't mind a little Ruby Tuesday. It's no Olive Garden, but so it means salad days is generally used to mean the days of carefree innocence, the pleasures of youth. However, we use it in a different way too. We talk about it almost just as much as that. We talk about the salad days to mean the mature days when it's almost our golden years. So the Shakespeare origin really is supposed to mean the first thing. He also used green a lot of times in his writing. The green-eyed monster of jealousy, you've heard that in Othello. In Love's Labor Lost, he talked about green is the color of lovers. So he used colors, he used green a lot. But we have used green in our language to mean unripe. You talk people like greenhorn that are new. So I think this is really the true way that this should be used. So salad days didn't get used for like 200 years after it was used in the play until the Oregonian, a newspaper, and you'll never guess the state. Oregon said in 1862 the phrase, what fools men are in their salad days, which I don't know why that makes me think about what a fool believes.
Thank you. Well, because Michael McDonald's spirit is with us always. It actually, my head went there.
Did it really?
Yeah, it really did. And I think also, too, I think it's a much briefer phase. But you've gone through a phase like, all right, I got to knock off 5 pounds. Yeah. I'm going to have a salad. And your salad days are very brief. So men go through it also, but I don't think it lasts very long.
The salad days are brief, and then you realize it's not the way to go.
Yeah, and that's
salads aren't the way to go.
Because what you'll do as a man is you won't put the 5,000 calories of ranch on, but what you'll do is I had a salad, so that way it's okay if I have a pie.
That's right.
And a steak.
Well, I will unfortunately go for the ranch dressing at times, but yes, the salad somehow is going to make up the difference for like the load of pasta I eat later. So there you go. We now can confidently talk about being in a pickle and salad days.
Yeah. Ironic for me, but I think it's a term I'll still continue to use.
I forgot how much you hate salads. It's kind of funny. It's kind of a random thing to hate, but
it's a gateway drug to kale.
left to strife, a conscious onlook of one's fate.
Why do they always have so much cottage cheese? What is cottage cheese?